Good evening, welcome back for another Friday. Excited, really excited to get stuck in today. My name's Danny, says it right at the bottom down the screen there, and this is his.th Online Painting Club. You might notice the delay, I'm a little bit croaky. I'm really sorry for that. I went surfing yesterday with some friends from work, and I took a surfboard to the windpipe and it knocked me off my feet. It seems that every time I go surfing I seem to get a really bad injury, and it really hurts to talk. I've been at work since like 7 o'clock this morning, and been having to sing songs and just generally be very loud all week, all day. Sorry, so yeah, I'm really struggling to talk and it's just really funny. Yeah, because it's me and it would just happen to me all the time, wouldn't it? So I was just checking all my lights wrong. I'm a little bit behind today, like trying to get everything set up. You'll notice I was a few minutes behind, so I'm sorry for being just a little bit late today. But it's just been one of those days. It's been full on. I'm glad to see that we've already got quite a full chat list already going in there. So thanks very much for coming along today. I can see Luke, I can see Leslie, I can see Adrian, and I can see Chris. Thanks for coming along. As always, guys, you're my regular viewers. I really appreciate your support and company for this evening. Of course, if you're new here, his.th Online Painting Club isn't like a tutorial or anything like that. It's just a place where you can come and enjoy company from people over there in the live chat, with me over here as well. Just knowing that while you're painting, someone is also painting, because sometimes it's lonely and it takes a long time. I know, I've got several projects that I haven't finished for ages. It's not always me. Normally there is another gentleman called Kyle that comes along with me for these evenings, but like I've been saying for the last few weeks, many weeks now, it feels like a lifetime actually. Kyle has been studying very hard, has a big job that he's been training for, did his exam last week. I spoke to him about an hour and a half ago. We actually had our first video chat for what feels like an age. He's looking really well, he's looking a little bit tired, but he's been working super hard, and he said his exam went really well. He doesn't know what his results are yet, and he's not allowed to know for a little bit, I don't think, and is just getting ready now to come back onto the show. He's not going to be here tonight because he's just got the last few bits and pieces that him and his mentor have got to kind of get together and just kind of finish off his course. But he's been telling me about some of the models that he's been painting. He's been doing a few bits and pieces and is just stoked to come back because it's his community as well as it is mine and as it is yours. And yeah, like Kyle always said, it's nice to have those couple of you know, a couple of hours at the end of a week just to make sure that, you know, you're getting into your hobby. Luke's going in there saying the music's a bit choppy. Don't really know why that is. It might just be that it's a little bit loud. So I'll just turn it down a little bit. It might also be that I'm in the middle of changing internet providers. It could be that my got to stop all these stupid hand movements. It could just be that we've got some interference, or you know, a little bit of dropout from the internet. It could be making it a little bit weird. So I apologise for any technical issues that we're getting on the way. We are in the middle of changing our provider. We've got we had engineers that have run the house a little while ago, looking for lots of more music things going there. The music's a bit more distorted than my heavy metal. Kind of cool. Yeah, I hope that it's not too bad. It could just be, it could just be the levels. I'll just die it down a little bit. Just die it down, and then hopefully, yeah, maybe it's just volume. Yeah, sometimes I get technical issues. It's the wonder of being on a live stream. Yeah, it could just be you know, internet being the way it is, but we are doing everything we can to prevent things being awkward. Anyway, let's move on away from my awkwardness. If the music is too bothersome, do let me know. It's nice to have that little bit of music in the background, especially for me, because otherwise it's just my voice. But if it's really bothersome, do let me know, and I'll just cut it out completely. He says, Leslie says, hope the change provider really works out for you. Yeah, me too, man. We've actually found a really good provider who gives us more than what we were getting for a lot less than what we were paying for. So it's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? Simples. Yeah. Let's have a little look at what I've been working on the last couple of weeks. I haven't done anything this week. I've literally been really busy. I actually had a couple of days off, more than I would normally, but I just went and did stuff and just kind of got out of the house because sometimes you need to do that, right? Been working on the 1/35th Panther. Really happy with how it's coming on. If you remember last week, if you were here last week, you'd know that I actually was backtracked, so I should be quite a bit further along with it now. But I was painting up the tracks for it. I did a really good job on them. I really liked it, and I did a little bit of weathering on them with some sort of weathering powders, and I ruined them, and there was no going back. So I just had to put them in paint stripper, start all over again, and unfortunately, just the two pieces. That's all they are. It was just rubbish. It just wouldn't come off. So I just had to go back and start again. It was a real shame. So I've almost finished this track. One track's on. It's glued in place. It's really difficult to try and get the, I'll show you in a second, but the tabs that kind of connect, it was really difficult to get them in position around the wheels and to kind of get the tab all glued in. So what I'm thinking about doing with this one is actually finishing the painting on it, getting all the weathering on there. It's not a lot of weathering, just a little bit, just to stop them from looking so sharply painted, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to glue them into the position in like a loop, like this, and then I'm going to try and stretch them ever so slightly with the sort of the drive wheel from the tank, and see if I can just kind of get it all in position. Watched a couple of YouTube channels, excuse me, got the hiccups again, and people genuinely seem to like doing them in their own way. There's no one set way that is kind of proven, you know, to be more effective. So yeah, got a touch bit painting left to do on that. That shouldn't take very long at all. Get a little bit weathering on there, glue it, stick it in place, and then I'm really starting to look at camouflaging. And I'm, like I've said in the last couple of episodes, really quite nervous. Let's just have a little look at some of the comments going in there. Jeff says the music is okay here. You came in just a little bit after everybody else, I think, so that means that it was the volume. I apologise. Leslie says, can't grumble at that, dude. Nice one. Yes, you're right. They seem to be a really good provider. It's going to be, I think we've got to wait like a few more days before we can actually like kick them in, if that makes sense. Anyway, cool. Let me take you over to my workbench. Here we go. This is my workbench, and here is the track that I've been painting. So if I just get the the cannon fell off, we'll have a look at that in a minute. I've got this stupid weather thing coming up from Windows. It's just stuck it in the bottom of my system tray, and it just, if I move the mouse over it, it just pops it. I hate it. I hate everything about it. Let me enlarge my screen so I can see what I'm looking at. Here we go. Okay, cool. So here is the Panther with the turret off. One side still requires the tracks on. Loving all the wheels on there, makes it look really, really beefy. On the other side, the track is in place. That's really cool. It needs to be, if I get this little stick here and kind of a bit easier to manipulate with my fat fingers in the way, it needs to be pushed down and glued just on the top of this wheel here, and just on the top of this wheel here, basically just on these middle ones, and then also just up here as well. And basically what that does is it makes it look like there's track sag, because they were made out of solid metal links, and they would be really heavy, and they would fit over the little teeth in there. Some of them are bent out of place. Lift them in place, and they would basically just kind of weigh down, and they would pull all the weight down. But these are made from rubber, so they don't do what they should do in real life. So they've got to be glued in place. As you can see here, they're all painted up, all the different track bits and pieces. I realised that I've got a little bit of autofocus going in there. I haven't sorted that out. I hope that doesn't get in the way too much. It's been a rushed evening. I'm really sorry. As you can see, I don't know if you can see properly. This one here is a bit sharper in the colours, because this one here has had a bit of weathering powder on there. Just a really, really faint amount of it, and it just softens it down. Otherwise, these can be a little bit on the sharp side. Just that the colours can just pop a little bit too much. This is a little bit softer, and I like the way it works actually. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish painting it and then put it in place. What needs to be painted on it then is on the other side, is where the road wheels would come into contact with the track, where all this either muck or grease or basically light rust has kind of started to build up. Where the wheels kind of come into contact with it, they would wear it down. That includes the edges of the teeth, and on this one here you can just about see. It's much easier to see in real life, but you can see like the wear on there. I've done some lines basically. And you can see the edges of the teeth are a little bit more silver. If I bring the light in, a bit easier to see there. There we go. Autofocus is making it a little bit awkward. Normally on top of that autofocus, but it was like, oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 19:01. I've got to push the go live button. Chris says, have you showed them your wheels? Yeah, all of these wheels. Is this what we're talking? Chris and I were talking for hours the other week on Discord, so you're probably referencing to a part of the conversation that I don't remember, because it was about 3 o'clock in the morning when we went, you know what, we've got lives to live. So off we went. So if you're just talking about the amount of wheels that I've got, I was gluing them all in place when we were talking about it the other day. Yeah, I hope I'm not missing a joke that we spoke about. We spoke about everything, man. It was a great conversation. Leslie says, I really like the colour of the tracks, man. Great job. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is the recipe. I was talking about it a little while ago. I think everyone needs to have a recipe for various paint jobs that they do. Tracks is one of those things. And like Jeff, my dad, was saying the other week, is that every tank is different. You go to the Tank Museum down in Bovington or wherever you are, really, they are... Even the ones that just sat there in situ, they're all different. So I wanted something that represented a little bit of use, a little bit of rust, which could also pass off as kind of muck or grease or whatever it is. So yeah, I was really happy with this thing here. So what I need to do now is I just need to kind of get on and do a little bit of dry brushing. It takes much less time than doing this side. This side's a pain in the ass. This side over here is much quicker. So I'm just going to take a sip of my tea because... Damn, I'm talking too much. Oh, a message has been retracted. I can see it. I can't see it, but I can see it's been retracted. I need one of my little dry brushes. I like this one. This is the Citadel base brush. I was talking about it a few weeks ago where I was hoping that I could do some like dry brushing across these lines. You can. It takes just as much time to do the dry brushing as it does just by painting them. So I just bit the bullet, got my little detail brush, and I painted them. And that was one of the things that I was doing whilst I was talking to Chris the other night. It took me, how long did it take, Chris? It took a year. It was awful. Show where your wheels. You were so proud of them. Yeah. There were so many wheels, so many. Look at them all. Just. And do you remember? Some many weeks ago, I told you about the little guide wheel at the back, where I had to make a new polycap that goes inside because I dropped it on the carpet in my living room and never to be found again. Found it on my desk yesterday. So yeah, that was complicated. Right, let's get on with this then. I'm gonna get a palette here, doesn't matter which palette, any old palette for now. I'm gonna get a couple of bits of tissue because I like to do a lot of wiping off of tissues and dry brushing and things. I'm not going to bother with a piece of paper because it makes everything a bit too bright really for the camera. It's a piece of paper. And I'm going to get one of my silver paints. I've been really enjoying Chainmail from the Vallejo game colour. But one of the colours I've seen being used a lot lately is Aluminium by Vallejo. They seem to do a good one. I was going to get for this build, but I've decided I was still going to get it, but I'm not going to use it on this build right now. Is Steel Pigment by AK Interactive, or by any provider of steel pigments. Really have the hiccups. Yeah, I just haven't got it yet. I'm not too fussed about it. This does look quite nice, especially once it's been toned down with the pigment. But I think it'll be easier, maybe quicker, just to kind of get a bit of pigment on the end of a silicone brush, like this one, or even on the end of my finger, and just basically just smush it onto where it needs to go. And it should just, all the weathering should just be made so much quicker. That's what all the pros have been doing on YouTube that I've been looking at over the last few weeks. So yeah, I might do that. Right, I have a little blob of silver paint. I have my dry brush. It's not actually a dry brush, but it's a brush I'm going to use for it because it's angled and it's really narrow and it makes it so much easier. I will show you. Get a little bit of paint on the end, not a massive amount, but enough to, yeah, you know what I mean. My throat is absolutely killing me. We got caught in a rip and everything. It was very scary. Me and my friends were paddling around 1 minute and the next thing we're out in choppy water on our way out through the channel. It was, yeah, it got a little hairy. We had fun though, and we all were fine in the end, apart from me and my throat. So, just trying to work out where the best place to actually put this stuff on is basically either side of the teeth. I just kind of put it in contact with all the road wheels to find out where they actually touched. I should imagine every tank is going to be different. And basically, I'm just going to try and keep it nice and neat. I don't want it to kind of flick out all over the place, if that makes sense. I want it to be quite a nice, neat line. Oh, yes, the stammer is coming back to me. That's because I'm pressured for the show. Now, if I rub too much of the paint off, it just means I've got to make more passes, which is fine. But as long as I'm being neat, I don't have to actually remove too much. It's quite easy, you know, to make a very quick pass. Obviously, the more paint I've got on the brush, the easier it is to make a mistake. But if I have less on the brush, it's just going to take longer. So I kind of got used to the amount that you see going on now. And as it's on the side of the bristles as well, it means that when I'm going past, sometimes you just contact the teeth. Not always, but it just kind of helps with the next stage. And this is going on much quicker. Made a bit of a slip there, but it all adds into the general weathering. My lights are a little bit too far out today. Let's bring them in a bit, but that's much better. There we go. So, if you're new here, you could pop on over to Facebook or Instagram, like the little links at the bottom there. They're not actually links, but you will find links in the description of this video. And you can head on over to Facebook or Instagram. You can like some of the stuff you see over there. You can follow us if you want. That would be great. You don't have to. Maybe feel free to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because that really helps me and Kyle make the most of this community and turn it into something really big. Bring a friend. That would be wonderful. Get involved in that community. It's actually starting to grow. We've got some new followers on Facebook. We've got a load of new followers on Instagram. And as soon as I've finished doing some bits and pieces worthy of putting up on Instagram, I will post up there. Of course, we're not just on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. We're also on Discord. You can come and join us at the end of shows. I'm not going to be on for very long today. I've got lots of other bits and pieces that I definitely, absolutely need my attention today. Like I say, it's just been a bit of a busy week. But I made up for it last week because, my God, we were on there for ages. It was a great conversation though. Do let me know as well what it is that you're up to. If you are painting this evening, or maybe you're making things, maybe you're just planning, or perhaps you're just sitting down with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, beverage of choice, just to catch up with some friends. I hope we're all friends now, by the way. That would make my day. If we're all friends, that'd be lovely. Because that's the bit that Kyle likes, you know. That's the bit. It's like just like meeting people and talking to people and just seeing what everyone's doing and just kind of picking up tips and sharing advice. He's absolutely stoked about coming back. He was telling me about his Space Marines that he's been building, and he's been building his Smash Captain, which if you're not familiar with a Smash Captains are generally Space Marines. Oh, my video is frozen. Why is my video frozen? Do let me know if that video is frozen for you, or if it's just frozen for me. Clearly, I've got some frame issues going on here. I can see that I'm not frozen, but my camera hit. Do you know what? I'm going to come away from it and see if that resets it. That's a bit weird, isn't it? I've never done that before. Here I am. Hello. Chris says we were on there way too long. Yeah, you're right. We spoke about everything. We put the world to rights, man. Yeah. I spoke about so much I can't remember what we talked about. It's still frozen. That is very peculiar, isn't it? Let's see. This is going to ruin everything now. I'm going to show you behind the veil. What's going on? Let's stop this now. Crazy. Ooh, there it is. Wow. That was all a little bit weird, wasn't it? Hey, welcome back. I'm sorry about that. That was a bit peculiar. Jeff says frozen, but not you. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It was just a weird little glitch thing. I've got no spikes on my frame rate or my internet or anything like that. Leslie goes on to say, I just finished the green stuff for the first part of the Nurgle board. I'm now making a little ruined building out of styrofoam. Just need to glue the bits I've cut out. Yes, your camera is frozen. Weird. And Adrian says, I've been working on one of the 3 tanks for a rematch game versus Kess. Oh yes, of course, Kesslin. We haven't seen Kesslin for ages. Don't want to give those extra. Don't give up those extra 10 points. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's great to see that you're all working on projects. I see that's fantastic. Leslie, I've actually seen your Nurgle tree that you've commissioned. You're not going to be disappointed with that. It is absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, more on that later, I suppose. Yeah, bit of a weird camera glitch there. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, forgotten what I was talking about. Kyle, community, something like that. Kyle loves the community. Yeah, you're all great. Wow, live streams, huh? Jeff says glitch in the Matrix. Oh my god, they've changed something. Deja vu, man. As you can see here, I've got a couple of bits where I've kind of gone a bit crazy. Now I could leave those, I suppose, make it look like it's just kind of random weathering spots. Bring my light in a bit closer. Yeah, where I've just kind of slipped with the brush and it's kind of gone away from the line a little bit. I could leave it. I don't like to leave it. I like to neaten it up just because, well, it's taken me this long. I might as well make it that bit neater. So I'm going to use some acrylic cleaner, which I would normally put through the airbrush, or thinner will do it. I want to be careful about the layers underneath, even though there is a little bit of varnish on there, it will go through it. But if I just kind of just gently, I will work that silver bit away. I can see we've got another comment in there. I'm going to have a little look at that in just a second. Oh, I was talking about Smash Captains, wasn't I? It's all coming back to me now. Curse you. Internet problems, camera issues. I had to show you behind the veil. Oh my god, everything's been ruined. Cool, there we go. That's how quick this is. Chris the Wolf says, still working on my dragon. I would love to see it. In fact, I believe you promised me that I was going to have a look at that. I would love to see it, if you wouldn't mind. But if you don't want to, that's fine, of course. Your projects are your projects. Everything's personal. But if you want to share it, stick it up on Facebook. That'd be great. Luke says, currently painting some Imperial Knight feet. Are you moving on to Imperial Knights already? I noticed on Discord you put up a picture of your finished project recently. Have you gone on to Imperial Knights? I thought you were... your project was to... sell incrementally. That makes sense. I think it does. Or are you just kind of changing projects for a bit? Okay, so I've done on the outside of the track teeth, and now I'm going to do on the inside with the other wheels touch. Now I do have to make sure that I go to this tab here, because this is the little bit at the end that has to loop over and connects into this little recess at the end over here. My lights in my studio is not set up very well today, is it? Not showing up very well. My apologies, everything's a little crap today, is the only way to put it. The important thing is that we're together. Right, here we go. So, yeah, Kyle's Smash Captain. A Smash Captain is a Space Marine captain, obviously. Or, might not be a captain, but the idea is that it's a captain. That they are a single unit themselves. They are characters that stand alone from units. They often have jetpacks, because they fly in from the air. Massive hammer or otherwise smashy implement of destruction, and then they just land on you and destroy everything. Kyle has been building one for his Blood Angels force, and he used it a little while ago, perhaps with Luke, when he came and saw home, or maybe with a friend when he went home for a little bit. And he said, utter glass hammer. When it works, but if it gets stopped, it's dead straight away. Which, yeah, that sounds exactly the way it should be. I personally played a game the other day. First time I've had to play a game for ages. Played a game in 9th edition, obviously now. and I played my Tyranids versus my housemate with his Eldar, and I got the first turn, and I absolutely smote him to ruins. And I was like, this is going to be a quick game, guys. Really sorry, it's not going to be any entertaining for you, mate. And yeah, within one round, I'd almost completely eliminated an entire troops unit, and then in the next round after that, I almost did exactly the same with another unit, and there was nothing left over, and I hadn't even got all my stuff on the table. I was like, this is how it's done. This is how it's done. And he survived, and he kept surviving, and he whittled me down and annihilated me with about 2 models left on the table. Oh, and it went on for hours, and I wasn't even angry. I was really impressed. He deserved to win. Didn't want him to, though. He shouldn't have won it, but he definitely deserved it. And it was all down to a Farseer and a War Walker. That Farseer, I killed it, but it resurrected. Because, you know, Eldar are all about, you know, the Phoenix and Phoenix Lords and stuff, aren't they? Yeah, and he had a stratagem. I believe it was a stratagem. Very frustrating. But yeah, it was an epic battle. Absolutely epic battle. I took in some gargoyles that Leslie gave me. They were unpainted, unfortunately. There were some unpainted models on the table, so I didn't lose anything. We just wanted the game quick. So I took in 10 gargoyles, and though they were fun, they didn't do anything. They fired all their little guns. Most of them missed, and then shots were shrugged off. They did that a couple of times. Then I charged. They didn't do anything. They tar pitted for a while, which is handy. Just kind of occupied the enemy. What's Luke going on to say now? Luke says, just a small break from the other projects whilst waiting for a mini photo box to show up to take better pics to show off the stuff. Yeah, that's cool, man. The very best luck with the ongoing project. And Night Feed, man. Interesting little project. What is a little bit frustrating about these tank tracks is that there's an injection point here, and there's one further down here as well. They're on the inside, so they are going to be hidden, but they're quite uneven. I'm not bothered about cleaning them up at all, but it does mean that when I'm dragging a paintbrush over them like I am now, they are prone to taking the brush for a walk. So on my other track I had to do quite a bit of cleaning up around there. It was quite difficult. I hadn't got the smoothness that I've got today at that point, so I was making it quite dry, doing lots of repetitive strikes, getting quite tired with it, I think. And yeah, obviously I was talking to Chris, God only knows what hour in the morning. Great chat it was. I was just making a lot of mistakes at that point. I blame Chris entirely, of course. And we are almost there with this. I'm just going to pop that on there because I'm going to start brushing on the table otherwise. Here we go. Just that last little bit. Okay. And now I'm just going to make sure that those teeth are all nicely edged. Now you can see that actually, for the most part, they are silvered. Chris, what? Yeah, you know it. I'm blaming you. You made me tired, man. So actually, where I've been running the brush along, all the edges of the teeth here are pretty much brushed too. Apart from this little tab at the end, which I don't want that to stand out. So I'm just going to make sure that they're done. Get a bit more paint on the brush there. Quite flimsy, so they try to move around. There's that side. We'll check the other side now. Not so many have been hit by this one, but that's okay. I like a little bit of randomness now, because it would be, I think. And you can look at all the ones in the museum, but unless they're being used regularly, you're never going to know. They've got a little bit of detail and they've got like a little groove in the middle, obviously where they bite onto a pattern on the drive wheel that just helps kind of keep them gripped. And what I'm trying to do is not go too heavy on this dry brushing, just to show that detail off a little bit more. But obviously the whole contact area would be worn down to metal. So if it does cover up a lot of the potential detail in there, I'm not overly worried about it. And I was watching a wonderful video the other day, and as and when I can find it, I'll make some references, probably in the next show, talk about like different kits and things that are out there. But there was a gentleman who'd done 2 videos, they're half an hour long each, of him putting the Sherman Easy 8 together, and it was an entirely interior model as well, so you could like do the entire thing, all the gear sticks and, you know, drive controls and things, and it was epic. And it had all the laser or the photo etched brasswork to go with it. It was just an epic build, and the guy made it look so easy as well. Like, I think I would love to do it, but I'm just gonna have to get a little bit better before I can go into such a big project. Right, so both sides of these teeth then, they do need to be seen to, because the contact isn't going to happen just on one side, it's going to happen on both. So we're just making sure that they've all got a little bit on there. These ones are going to be harder to see on the inside, but if you do see them, I want it to look super cool. Also, Chris says, I'm innocent. We were both tired. Yeah, you're right. I'm still blaming you though. Deal with it. It was a great chat. I remember getting quite drunk, drinking a lot of rum. You know, it's the after show, it's for drinking. That's what we do. Okay. There we go. Wonderful. Right, that's it. That's all that dry brushing done. There's a couple of areas that I want to neaten up on there. Just gonna get my brush in the water. Jeff says, remember, you won't see the track sack because of the side plates. Yeah, I know. I just want to make sure I do, because if you see it at an angle, perhaps, you know, like from this sort of side here, you might see inside there. So, yeah, I will know. I will know. Maybe I want to take the side plates off later on. Who knows? I just think it's good to do it. It's good to do it. Right, so I've got a couple of bits to neaten up. So let me find an appropriate brush for it. I think my little army painter brush will do just fine. Oh, protector stuck on it. There it is. Cool. I'm going to need a little bit thinner, I think. Yeah, thinner will be fine. Just a little bit of airbrush thinner from Vallejo. Chris says, and I was on a lot of sugar. Yeah, that is all coming back now. I think basically we just got quite drunk and high, didn't we, really? Okay, just a drop of thinner. I'm not going to go heavy with the brush there. Just going to dab a little bit off onto a cloth. And just going to neaten up. There we go. Because the silver's quite fresh compared to the rest of it, it comes off quite easy. Just a little bit of agitation, but I don't want to go too heavy, because if I start agitating too much, it's going to start kind of cutting into the colours below. And I haven't been so precise with this to measure exactly where those wheels touch. Like I said, I'm new to these big builds and I just kind of want to get through it. It's taken me long enough as it is. So I'm not overly fussed about accurate position. But if I was doing one of those really big detailed builds where you've got all the interior and stuff and I'm much more confident about it, then I will. I will go to the lengths of finding out where they're going to contact properly. a little bit in the middle there. So I'm just going to run this brush just in a nice straight line, just repeatedly. It's got quite a bit of thinner on it. It's making the colours underneath look quite striking. That's just because when you make a surface a little bit wetter, it just kind of makes everything a little bit more contrasted. So yeah, it just makes everything a bit more defined. So don't worry, that's not anything bad happening there. A little bit more here. Look. Now, as I'm doing this, because I'm interfering with that paint, it's got the pigment of a metallic paint it's just like little tiny pieces of glitter. You're going to move it around. Darren said this before. When you're working with metallic paints, have a separate water pot for cleaning your brushes off in, so that you're not contaminating other colours, because you're going to pick up those sparkles. Now, we all love sparkles for sure, but you don't want it to be going into areas where you've got non-metallic paints. It's just going to make it look rubbish. But as you're moving this paint around, because you're trying to neaten it up, you're going to spread that glitter around. If it's on a metallic surface or an area where it's going to be worn down, it might not be a bad thing. So I'm kind of moving this silver paint around, and it's just going to maybe make the rest of the track look a little bit more worn, just a little bit of random weathering. So that's okay. But judge it, if it's kind of gone a bit mental. Let's see if you can get back in there and control it. But this is, of course, coming from a guy who can't. So, do it as you will, right? Now the colours underneath here, under these silvers, shouldn't be agitated by this, because they're enamel paints. But as Adrian was talking about a little while ago, he was finding that just the agitation, you're being abrasive to those layers, and they're only thin. So it is possible that you could kind of scrape those layers away, and then you're just kind of mixing whatever residues there into a liquid medium. So you will start shifting stuff around if you're not gentle. Acrylic thinners shouldn't affect enamel paints, and enamel thinners shouldn't affect acrylic paints. But if you agitate it enough physically, then it's going to happen. So just be careful. There we go. We're done. Get that thinner out of my paintbrush. Beautiful. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it give it a quick varnish now? No, I'm going to do a little bit of weathering now, and then I'll varnish over. Then it just stops the amount of passing with an airbrush. Cool, another sip of tea. Okay, so I'm going to get a sheet of painty paper out here, because it gets a bit messy, this. I'm going to move my palette away, because I need a couple, because these tracks are quite long. These are really grubby bits of paper now. Right. Pigment. Lots of different ways to use this. What I did last time, but after following some really cool videos out there, I just wasn't very good at doing it. Added some water with it, painted it on. You can then just kind of rub it away with your finger or your thumb, and it just kind of sits in all the recesses. It's good for certain things like tyres, which is what the demonstration was on. Doing on tracks, there is a lot more sort of deep detail in very small space. So basically, by painting this kind of wet pigment into it, it just stuck, and I probably left it on too long, so it really had a chance to dry and set in there. So I go very, very sparingly now with this. So what I've got, I use it very rarely. I've got a watercolor brush here. It's like the softest thing. So soft. So soft. And basically I just get a little bit of pigment on it, and I just kind of lightly just dab across it. And as soon as it starts to look like it's going on too heavy, I get another soft brush, but one that's just a little bit stiffer. This one here, I've got, it's a Sable brush, it's a really cheap one. It's got soft bristles, but they're tightly packed together, so it's really good for kind of getting into creases to agitate it out. And I've also got this synthetic one here, where they're quite they're narrow. There's quite a lot of, you know, sort of surface area, if you like, and it's really good for kind of getting in. They're really quite stiff because they're synthetic bristles. So yeah, make sure you've got a way of sorting stuff out if something goes wrong. Jeff says, I've got some work for you, by the way. Need some cracked earth and some desert water holes. Small job, but needs doing. I will gladly help you out there. Community coming together, yeah. Right, all it is like a little powder in here. So I'm just going to get a little bit on the end, and then I'm just going to get rid of most of it off the brush because it goes crazy. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of just literally just touch it. And if you go too heavy, it's done, man. That was my American accent for the Germans that were taking the mick out of me a little while ago. I do other accents too. I do requests. So once I start removing a bit of the weathering dust from it, I can go a little bit heavier because there is less obviously on the brush to come off. But the colour really starts to change, and I don't really want to lose those really nice browns and oranges in there. I just want to soften it all down and add just a little bit of something to it. You know what I mean? Right, get into all the creases a little bit, just make them a little bit used rather than just painted that way. Once you get like really heavy spots, is just not being right next to each other, kind of spread it out a little bit so then you can kind of work in. That makes sense, I'm sure it does. Gone a bit heavy in this one spot here, so I'm just going to brush that out. You can also wet these brushes and kind of agitate any of the pigment out. But if you start adding liquid in there, you're going to potentially make it start setting, so just be careful. Okay, obviously got to do both sides, right? I hope the music, by the way, is okay for everybody. If it's too loud, too quiet, too distorted, then just let us know. There's quite a bit of pigment there, as you can see. There's actually a lump of it there as well. So I just like to tap a lot of it out, because it's going to go on quite heavy otherwise. I don't want that. I do like doing it on the underside because it just kind of picks up the edges as well, and it can look really quite nice. Oh, got like a weird bristle there. Stuck on the paper. Go away. Don't want to get stuck in any of the paintwork. Okay. Right. And now I'm just going to kind of go over with an agitator and just knock a lot of it out. It's a bit heavier than the other one, so yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that. It's on the inside though, so not too bad. I'm going to get a wet brush now. I'm actually going to close up my pigment before I start throwing water around, because that could end in disaster. Sensible move, Danny, well done. Okay. Just a little bit of water there. A couple of heavy links. Just clean that out there a little bit. That's looking much better. Wonderful. Okay, onto the other side. Just going to run a wet brush along it. Not too wet. A damp brush. Just picking up any of the loose stuff that's on there, where it might just get a bit heavy. You can see it kind of mixing now as I'm running along here. That's fine. And if it is dirt, if it is dust, it is going to gather on those clean spots, but they will be still cleaner. So yeah, where the road wheels are kind of touching, they're going to wear the metal down to bare metal, but it's still going to be potentially covered in mud and muck. So don't be frightened to get it on there, but they will be constantly being cleaned. Okay, now I've got wet tracks, so I want to dry them. So I'm just going to dab with a bit of tissue. Just try and pick up that moisture, and then I will blow the airbrush over it. And these are looking good to go. And then seal it all in with a bit of varnish, and then I'm going to glue them together. You've got to be careful about having, like, putting liquid on them, because it's obviously going to go through the tracks and out the other side, so whatever side you put it on, check the other side. Cool. We're almost ready to go with the airbrush. Quite a lot of water there. Let's just get rid of that. A lot of weathering powder just kind of flying around over here, so just trying to move that and not get it stuck to anything. Okay, let's get some varnish. I'm just going to go in with some matte varnish on this one. Give it a little bit of a shake, but there's no real colour in there to mix up, so nothing to worry about. I don't have to shake any pigment or anything like that. Just gonna put in, you know, an amount. And as most of my airbrush recipes now are taking one good drop of thinner, comes out quite fast, so you've got to be careful with that little drop of bottom. And 2 drops of flow improver is really helping me get the best of my recipes. And since I've been using this little mixture for this sort of quantity, if you like, in the hopper there, it's I'm getting less problems with the airbrush. That's not to say that I don't get problems with it. It does still clog up a little bit on the go, and I'm probably going to get a clog up now that I've said that. But I haven't done a proper strip down of the airbrush for about 3 or 4 weeks. So I think that just goes to show that a lot of using an airbrush is just, and people say it all the time, it's just getting used to it, you know, and it getting used to your style, I suppose. Learning recipes, learning, you know, mixtures. You can just stick airbrush paints into it and just kind of press and play, but obviously you want to have a bit of longevity from your session, so you want to make sure that you're thinning everything down and retarding that paint, stop it from drying so quickly on all the contact points inside an airbrush. There are so many contact points. It's constantly in contact with the exterior parts of the paint chamber, you know. So, interior parts, sorry. Jeff says, most World War II photographs you see panthers and tigers seem to be plastered in so much crud. Don't think cleaning your tank was a late war thing. No, you're right. We together have seen all those photos. I just wanted to have a cleaner model, really. I'm kind of just playing with them at the moment, and then once I'm happy, I might do like a a Sherman, just because of ally colours. Shermans are beautiful tanks to paint. Once I've done with that, I will then probably go, okay, do you know what? Let's make a muddy one. Right. A good paint flow there. I'm going to just get ahead of myself. I'm just going to take the nib protector off. There we go. Just trying to position my lights, because matte varnish is really hard to see where you actually cover. But if I shine a light on it, I get a little bit of reflection from the wet varnish. There we go. I can see it now. The end of my needle's being it's a bit grubby. Told you I'll get some flow problems now. I said that, didn't I? Sometimes just by unscrewing the tip here, just a little bit, giving it a little bit of a jiggle, it's just enough to agitate whatever's loose. Or make something loose in there. Yeah, sort of. Come on now. We are so close to getting this done before the interval. Stop embarrassing me in front of all my friends. Come on now. It started alright. It doesn't want to. What you can do is you can kind of just put your little bit of cotton right up against the needle, get some air in there, and then just pull back, and it forces, you can see the bubbles forming in the thing there, and what that's doing is it's forcing air in the opposite way because it can't escape out of the nozzle. You want to make sure you're looking after your needle pretty carefully. You don't want to be bending that at all. But that can, you know, the backflow can also, there we go, much better spray already. That can just kind of move things in the right direction away from the nozzle. Doesn't take long for it to start again though. But you see that quite a bit on some like pro YouTubers. It's also a really good way of making sure you're getting cleaner up inside as well. Little hair just stuck on there. There we go. That's a good coverage. Getting a bit of spatter, but it's only varnish. I don't really matter at this stage. It might be that I just didn't mix it very well inside the hopper either. Or it might just be because I haven't cleaned it for several weeks. Not properly anyway. And that's one side done. Does need a bit of a clean, but we're okay at the moment. We're not cooking on gas, but we are cooking. Fantastic. Okay, so let me just where are we? Here we go. We'll take a break in just a few minutes. So if you need to go and get yourself a fresh drink, or you need to go to the bathroom, stretch your legs, refocus your eyes, get out of the studio or wherever you are for a bit. We tend to push ourselves into dark little corners of the house. Don't do it to yourself, man. Get out, go, see the real world just for a few seconds. Go and change your paint water. You should always change your paint water. This week I might actually change mine. Just a little bit of air on the top of this now. That's what you can hear. Just trying to dry that side that I varnished, because I'm gonna flip it over. Flipping it over. And I'm gonna give the other side a quick blast as well. Don't have to be nothing special. Just really trying to seal that pigment in. And because obviously I painted that silver on, I want to kind of seal that as well. I did protect, after I did all the rust colours, I did protect them with a layer of varnish, so they're done. I say there, as in like those layers. I'm almost out of varnish, I'm literally scraping the bottom of the barrel there. Just by giving little pulses is often enough. Just to kind of get the last little bits out of the paint chamber. Means I don't have to make up another batch of paint. Or varnish, sorry. Okay, I'm done. I finally got a task done before the interval. Anyway, as I said a minute ago, if you need to take yourself a few minutes, go change your paint water or whatever you need to do, now is the time to do it, and I will see you back here in just a few minutes. Stay safe for now. welcome back. I'm just seeing some interesting comments going into the live chat. Hope you had a decent break there. I actually changed my paint water. Shock horror. Just cleaning my brushes up and just having a little play with the track here. I noticed that Leslie says, strangely enough, as soon as you go, the music becomes fine. Smiley face. Perchance do you and the music have some kind of argument? Yeah, always. Anything technical, I can't. I'm not allowed nice things. I ruin things just by. It's a Midas touch. I really have it. Yeah, let me know if the music becomes, you know, not easy to listen to or whatever. It should just kind of be there just to drown my voice out a little bit, because one guy just talking quietly in the studio is a bit boring. So yeah, do let me know. Normally it's not, as far as I'm aware. Darren's joined us. Hi guys, thanks for coming along, Darren. Nice to see you again. Thank you very much. Yeah, let me know. I don't know what it is about the music this week. Normally it seems to be okay. If it is a little bit, yeah, and you return and the music hates everyone. Okay, do you know what I'm gonna do? I will reduce it. There's probably some sort of weird clash. Yeah, sorry. I will review this and have a little look at it and see if I can sort it out. Basically, just as I get better equipment in the studio, hopefully things like that will start working properly. Yeah. Chris says, and we're back. Hi Chris, nice to see you again. Cool. So yeah, I finished painting the track. Now it's the last one to go on. I finished weathering it, and I've just all the varnish in it is now dried. I would take you over to the workbench to show you what I've done. Here it is. It doesn't look very exciting. Basically, what I've got to do now is I've got to attach this little tab into this little tab slot, I suppose. I've just run a little knife. I don't know what I've done with my little scalpel, but I've got like a little Swiss Army knife thing here, and it's really nice and thin. It has a really nice blade on it, and I've just basically just scored where the paint was, just to kind of remove it, because if you put glue onto paint, it's only going to agitate the paint or try and stick paint layers together. You want it to get the actual plastic. And again, on this side here, it's just making sure yeah, that the surface is cleaned. Now, the last one I didn't go on so well. Basically, I wrapped the whole track around, and I had the join position down here. I'll get into shot down here, and then I moved it around. And this is what I was doing when I was talking to Chris the other week, one of the many things I did during a very lengthy conversation. So now the join is just up here. It's not the best join, but I did neaten it up. You can't see it. That's the best thing about it. It was a bit of a hassle. So what I'm going to try and do in this one, rather than actually draping it across the whole set of wheels, is I'm going to join it here. So actually kind of get it glued into position, and then I'm going to try and stretch it across all of the wheels, get it into place. What I've got to do is get this wheel in the track here, make sure that it's all positioned into the little track link slots, because the wheel I've got an antivirus thing coming up. Thank you, antivirus, right in front of my screen. That's AVG for you. I'm calling you out. Let's close that box down. Thank you so much. Yeah, I want to make sure that all the teeth go into the little teeth slots in there. And it should be fairly easy to kind of get in place on there. But basically, I'm going to glue it now, let it set for a minute, and then try and stretch it into place while fitting the wheel at the same time. I've seen equal amounts of efforts on various pro YouTubers, you know, either gluing them in place and kind of moving them around, which I've already done, or this way, which I'm going to try. Now, something interesting I did cotton on to, doing a little bit of research on this, is a little bit of cleaner, airbrush cleaner. I've got a massive pot of it here. Yeah, how much is this? This is 200 mils, so it's a really big pot. It's going to take me ages to get through all of this. I'm only a little bit of the way through it now. It just kind of comes to here. Yeah, tilt it and it looks like it's more. But apparently, you can use this as a bit of an adhesive on vinyl tracks, probably because they're different than the plastic that the tank is made from. They're almost rubbery. Apparently it's vinyl. I've got it in a little dropper bottle here. I've just got neat cleaner written on it, for various applications with the airbrush, basically mostly cleaning. But apparently by using this, it will you know, melt the surfaces. So I thought, what a great opportunity to give it a try, because the worst that's going to happen is it doesn't do a good enough job adhering, but it will clean the surface that I've just scraped. So as long as I control it, yeah, let's see what happens. However, I've been told, or at least I listened to the video, you've got to be pretty quick with it because apparently it can bond pretty fast. So I'm having a couple of practice goes at it, and I can get it into place in there, which is good. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to put a drop in here. It runs around really quickly, so I'm just going to move a brush through there just to see if there's any kind of dirt or debris left over from when I was scraping it down with the knife a minute ago, just to make sure that surface in there is really clean. But of course what I've done now is I've removed most of that with my brush. So I'm going to do the same on the other side over here, just a little drop. There we go. And just hope you guys can see that okay. There's a bit more left on that surface there, less places for it to run away with. Now I'm just going to give it a go. I do want to make sure that the inside of the track here, the actual tread plates if you will. Okay, let's do this. This may not work at all. Worth having a go though, right? Get the end of another paintbrush and just push that down. I don't think that's worked. That doesn't appear to have done anything. Maybe it's a different type of vinyl that person was using. Do you know what? It was worth a go. It was worth a go. Okay, cool. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dry that. Just going to go in with dry brush there. Just pick all of that out. I'm trying to not agitate while I do that because obviously that is cleaner. That will remove anything on there with any kind of agitation. So, cotton. Simple. Just let it absorb anything that's in there for a minute. I don't want to remove any of that paintwork at all. It must be a different type of vinyl track or something, or maybe just a slightly different type of cleaner. Who knows? It very clearly didn't work. It was just moving around everywhere. So I'm just going to get some, I could get some poly cement in there, or I could get some instant glue. I get my super glue from Green Stuff World. So I'm going to give super glue a go because I want it to be a quick bond. I've got activator for it. I'm not going to use that today because I do want a little bit of playtime with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my palette back in so I can control the amount of glue. I've got a little stick that I was using to hold all my wheels on when I was painting them, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here. There we go. It really doesn't have to be much. That's with everything, less is more. Nice cup of tea. Okay. Just going to shave the end of that stick down so it's a bit more pointier. Wicked. Right. Bit of super glue on the end of that. I'll get rid of that little bit of cotton fluff there, which I did not remove. Please get out of that glue. That was gluing there already. And again, just on the inside of the tread there where the two surfaces are going to touch. Hide that seam. That all my practice fits for doing these tracks, if you push the two sides together like this way, they actually join with no seam. They're really well made, really good quality. Okay, here we go. And in you go. just occasionally lifting them off the table surface to make sure that I'm not actually gluing them to the table, because that would be embarrassing. They are done. That quick. Darren says, looking really good, mate. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I put so much effort into this tank. It should be done by now, but you know, me and my projects, man, they just take forever. So I'm just gonna leave that for a moment, just so it has a little bit of time to dry. So the idea is now is to obviously kind of just stretch it over the wheels. I'm going to hold with this drive wheel in place. The idea is just a little bit, if it snaps, it's fine. It's going to go on the weakest point, which is the join, hopefully. And then it's just a case of doing it again the way I have done already. But I'm basically just going to kind of stretch it over, and this wheel is just going to lock in onto this little axle over here, and it should just go rest in place. Should be fairly simple. Now, the job that's going to happen afterwards is camouflaging, and I'm really nervous about this because the whole tank has taken me so long to get to here, just because I've been learning the whole way, and I've taken my time deliberately, but I don't want to ruin it. I'm going to try and copy the camouflage pattern that comes on the box. This is the black and white version, it fits into the screen a bit better, but I've still got the box. It shows me the color pattern for it. I don't really want to cover too much of the yellow because I think it's a really beautiful colour, and I like what I've done with it. So what's on here, as you can see, with the darker patches are the greens and the reds that are on there. So if I do copy it, I'm going to be covering a lot of the yellow. So I might just use it as a bit of a guide. I honestly don't know yet until I come to do it. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. It's got the, I think it's called Flecktarn, which is all the little dots that are all over it, a type of Flecktarn at least. Yeah, there are different camouflage patterns that I can do. What I want to do though is I want to leave the wheels alone. I don't want to do the camouflage down the bottom. I've got lots of photo reference. Various tanks do have their the whole thing, wheels and all camouflaged. Other ones have camouflage just on the hull and turret, and the wheels are left alone. I just kind of want to have that difference, so I'm just gonna yeah, it's also a little bit easier, I think, but it does mean that I've got to mask them off. So I've also got the side skirts to go on. So these are going to go on. This one actually goes on the other side. It looks a bit nicer over here because the tracks are on here as well. Once those tracks are glued into place, these are going to go. They're just going to sit into place here, like that. I'm going to need to mask the wheels off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of paper and I'm just going to slot it up underneath the side skirts there so that nothing goes on those wheels. Just a little bit of sticky tape, a little bit of masking tape just to hold it in place. So while I'm airbrushing, nothing goes on them, and I think it'll look nice. It's also going to stop any kind of distraction away from the colour of the wheels. I really wanted that little bit of difference, just to add a little bit of flair to it, which is there's some damage over here. So you've got the cluster of wheels at the front that were been replaced, the side skirt there as well. Just looks a little bit more actiony, doesn't it? So yeah, that is a definite thing, is only getting the camouflage on the hull and turret. Here is the turret. I will definitely start my pattern on the turret. I could, of course, try to incorporate the design across the whole thing. There's so much to think about, and I think what I'm doing is I'm just blocking myself, if that makes sense. I'm just nervous and I don't want to ruin it. However, when I was playing with it the other day, oops, knocked that off. It's really hard to get any kind of contact between here and here, where it kind of touches. I don't know why that is. It's just a real pain to get into place. You push it and you push it. You're like, oh my god, I'm just going to break everything. So yeah, I'm just trying to be careful with it. So don't know what I'm going to do with that. But at the moment, it does kind of just rest in place. Looks okay. Right, just broke my gun. Yeah, disarmament. Okay, cool. Darren says 135th models go on and on and on. Yeah, they do. And I watch all the pros and like, yeah, I'm done now. Like, yeah, of course you are. Cheers. Thanks very much for that. I do have over here a couple of books for reference. We've gone over them before, so I was thinking about having a little flick through there. I'm just nervous about it. Still got all the tools to go on as well, which is nice. You may have noticed that I have been doing all the pin lining and things over here, and I stopped at the back because I thought, why am I doing it? I've got to put camouflage on it, so I'm going to do all the camouflage, then I'm going to pin wash, and at that point I'm good to just start putting water slide transfers on. Yeah, not much longer now, but of course this is all stalling to get that last track on. I do need to make sure that it goes on in the right direction. It is directional, so the easiest way to do is just kind of check it against the other one. I think it goes on this way. Having a little look. It goes on this way. Good to know. It does. Okay, cool. So, don't flip it up the wrong way, Danny, crikey. It's coming away a little bit just in there, so I think I'm just going to drop a little bit of glue in there just to increase the strength of that bond. So I'm just going to be super careful with super glue. This could be the biggest mistake ever. Beautiful shot. That was I could have been any more perfect. I don't know if you caught that on camera or not. That was good. Just wipe a little bit of that away. I don't want it to overspill when I close the two sides together. Wonderful. I'll just give that a second to dry. Right. So the idea is I will remove drive wheel here. It's only loosely in place anyway. Making sure all my wheels are firmly in place. A couple of them are coming off the other week. Just give that a little touch with my finger in there. Make sure that is dry super glue. It is. Okay, we're good to go. So this bit's fairly easy. Just drop it in. Make sure that it fits on the back wheel there. Nice and snug now, and then just put them across the front. Beautiful. Now let's get rid of that cat hair that's just dropped into where the super glue was. Oh, it's a constant fight with this animal, it really is. She's lovely, I love her to bits, but it's just her fur just gets everywhere. Got it. Right, thanks very much. Silly animal. Okay, so let's get that in the right way. What I'm going to try and do is make sure that because I had shadow rendering or object source lighting, if you want to call it that, when I was airbrushing the colours on, and I'll make sure that I get the wheel in the right place. And now from here all I've got to do is line that axe lap inside there. Quite hard to see on the camera, but yeah, trust me, that's what I've got to do. And this is the hardest bit now. So, whew. Wants to fight me. This may not have been the best idea. Just talk amongst yourselves, right? Just talk amongst yourselves. Okay. So close. There it is. It's in. Now all I've got to do is line up all the teeth on the tracks. They're quite flexible, so not too difficult. Just push that drive wheel into place. Okay, that's been... Obviously, you can see here there's a big squiffy bit here. Adrian says, be thankful you only have one set of cat fur to deal with. Try having 3 cats. Oh, three sets. Yeah. We would have more cats. I would certainly have more cats. I do share a house with other people who, not going to say aren't fond of cats. Everyone loves animals here. But, you know, it's a lifestyle that not everyone wants to get involved with, and she was a rescue cat. I rescued her myself. My track is in place. Beautiful. But it's just unfair on everybody else to, you know, have lots of animals when you can choose to. I just, you know, took pity on this cat. I picked her up from a car park where she was living a bad life, and now she lives a wonderful life. I hope so anyway, with me, my partner, and my housemates. But also she doesn't like other cats, so that pretty much seals that deal, doesn't it? We've like let neighbours' cats in, so you're like, how do you get on? Nope. Okay. That was a bad choice. We should not have done it. At first she was okay, but then after a while, no. So now what I've got to do is just choose a decent size pointy thing. This is a good one. It's also because it's a paintbrush, they're quite smooth, aren't they? So I'm going to try and add a little bit of glue on top of some of the road wheels in here, just a little bit of super glue, and then I'm just going to basically just kind of push them down to make it look like they're sagging, because they would contact the tops of all of these wheels. And some of the teeth are a little bit warped or bent, so that's going to be just a little bit more fiddly. Like that, there we go. So on, so forth, all the way across. Yeah, because they would sag. It's the whole point of these wheels. They operated as both road wheels and return rollers. So on like the Panther 4 and 3 example, you'll see little wheels at the top. Those are called return rollers. What they do is they help keep tension on the track and just kind of keep it, you know, contact with a surface to keep them rolling. That's all they did. They were just kind of free spinning. But obviously on the Tigers, Panthers and everything above it, they didn't have them because the road wheels are big enough. So, where's my glue? Here it is. Because my surfaces are all painted, there's absolutely no point in having poly cement, because that only glues surfaces together, surfaces of plastic together. It doesn't glue, melts the surfaces of plastic together. It doesn't actually create an adhesive layer. Super glue will. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups and the burps today, I apologise. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop a little bit of glue on top of the wheels, like that. That's on the centre road wheels, and then I'm going to get the end of this brush, and then I'm just going to push them down. And I'm just going to hold it there for a second. Jeff says, I used to fold cardboard and use it on top of the track to bend it to the sag you need. What do you mean? You used to fold cardboard and use it on top of the tracks to bend it? To bend it to the sag? I don't get... Are you like talking about put like a spacer in there, something that kind of pushes it into position, you just kind of leave it there? Interesting. It wants to pull away a little bit, but it will hold, and obviously the more that I pin down, the less pulley away tension there is. Pulley away tension, you know what I mean. Stop looking at me like that. Okay, now into this one in here. Try to be careful about that one dodgy little tooth there that really wants to cause me an issue. Of course there would be one, wouldn't there? There we go. There's another one in there that caused me hassle. Pack it in and leave it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I could do. Bit late now. I am locked in to my destiny with this track now. So 2 more to go here. In the instructions it says you only need to do these 2. Do them all. What's the point of just doing like a couple? It's looking much neater now. It's looking really good. Excellent. Just this one here, then make sure that it's going to go in properly. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I'm so stoked about this. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. What I'd like to be able to do, because I collect Space Marines as well, because let's be honest, who doesn't? Is I would like to get to the point where my Space Marine tanks are painted in the same way, so they're all gritty and grimy, but quite realistic. But because they're a science fiction style, theme, and whatever, and just general design, it will kind of have this really cool appearance that is both realistic yet not real. Luke says, feet are done. I am looking forward to seeing those, Luke, so please don't disappoint. Put some photos up on Discord or on Facebook. Both. Do it. Do both. In fact, Luke, could we get it so that when you put pictures up on Facebook, you can get them to go to Discord? We obviously have different channels on the Discord one, so that might make it a bit difficult, but hey. You know what you're doing with the Discord stuff. That one doesn't want to stay, does it? Might have to get a bit more glue in there. Okay. A bit more tension on that one, to be fair. That's better. Yeah, that's biting. Adrian says, just the tank commander to do now, and tank 1 of 3 is done. Luke says he'll look into it. Cheers, mate. Excellent. Look at you guys all getting stuff done tonight. You're doing so much better than I have been lately. However, clearly you can see progress is being made on this tank. Like I said, next week I'm not going to do anything on it because I just want to kind of keep things, you know, I wanted to keep the pace changed on the show. So next week I've got a couple of ideas, things that I can do. If you've got any ideas or stuff that you'd like me to get involved in, then I am always all ears. Just look at that. That is fantastic. That is so cool. I'm loving it. It does want to pull away a little bit there, so I'm just going to make sure there's a little bit of pressure. And that's fine, it is locked in. That is wicked. That is absolutely brilliant. I'm so happy. Stuff's getting done. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a little bit of terrain next week just to kind of change things up. Maybe just for the 1 week. I don't know. Obviously, I was playing... Oh, got a bit of hair on my shirt there. I was doing a little game the other day where we used some of the 3D printed terrain. Unpainted, but do you remember like the Tyranid spires that I've painted here? Like, oh my god, they're so cool. They've got all these lines and things on them, printing lines. They were just kind of... I was just having a bit of fun, just hobbying around with my printer before I blew it up. I've also got... the Eldar webway portals, which are like this one here. So what I was going to do is just kind of get a bit of modelling putty and just kind of, you know, really wet it down, really just kind of run it into all these little lines, and then just sand them down. And that's something I can just do in my spare time between now and next week. I'm going to be busy at work, so this is kind of a nice thing to just kind of turn to. And then perhaps just kind of paint it up and make it look a bit weathered, like it's been sat there for 1,000 years or something. I thought it would be really cool. Of course, I don't have to. If you've got other ideas of things that you'd like me to do, I'm all ears. Whether I can make some things happen between now and next week is all up to your ideas or whatever. So yeah, let me know. Yeah, just want to kind of mix it up a little bit. I don't want to get stuck in like I do in my Tyranids, just for so long, just kind of rinse repeating the same things over and over again, because it doesn't make for a very exciting show. Adrian says, it's easy to get stuff done when you only have 8 colours to do for the main tank. Well, yeah, I suppose. I think I only had like a couple for this one, but it's still taking me the better part of a year to do it. Anyway, we need a bit more glue here. It dries so quickly. So 1, 2, 3, 4 contact points here, and we're good. That was a much easier way of doing it, by the way. The other one was just a real faff. I know I made it look faffy this time around, but yeah, trying to glue those tabs together when they're on the inside of the track, like, yeah, it's just a nightmare. So always have a go at dry fitting it if you're, doing these some sorts of similar builds or whatever. It was tough, man. It was tough. Jeff says, I will let you have the water holes. You can do them live. Okay. We'll pop around some point in the week. Because you're nearby. And we're allowed to visit each other nowadays. I'll pop around and pick them up. And you tell me what you want doing with them. And I'll do that as part of the show. And I'll do some other bits and pieces as well. That'd be cool. Done. Helping people out. In the community, on the show. Love it. Right, that should be glued in place now. Wicked. I can see there's another tooth in here. It's where they're close to the join, I think. Yeah, there's the join here. And it's just the end of the tab where they I think it's because they're kind of a little bit misshapen by the glue from the tab. If that makes sense. Where they're just kind of bending in a little bit, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now he's going in fine. Okay, cool. Quarter of an hour away from the end of the show here, guys. So if there's any questions you want to ask or anything you want to say, start getting them in there now. I don't normally say that as a part of this show, but I didn't have anything else to say, and it's just me holding a paintbrush really still. I was just trying to think of things to say. I could have started maybe with something like, we normally, after the interval, or on the intermission as it's actually labelled, we do a little bit of show or tell or something like that, a bit of community spotlight, things that I've seen, things that you've seen, things that you've done. Haven't done anything for a little while, don't always do it. If you have something that you want to show off as part of community spotlight, give us a shout. More than happily give you some limelight for it. Maybe you just kind of want to show it off so that you can get a little bit of critique for it, or some ideas, and go like, oh, help me, I'm stuck. Gladly show your stuff off for you. Also, after intervals, I tend to talk about companies or private businesses that offer really good services, or just maybe you've had a really good experience with someone like, Element Games, and you just kind of want to say thanks or something like that. I also do shout outs for companies, because this isn't like me trying to get money or anything. It's a community, and I want to share everything to the world. So yeah, if you see something like that and you want to kind of show your stuff off, or talk about someone who just gave you some really good service, or someone that provides good products or whatever, then let us know, because I'll more than happily talk about it. And all the stuff that I've mentioned in the past is all in the description to this video with links and all, and I've used many of them regularly, so I recommend that you go and do the same, because there's some good folks out there who are just trying to make a living and do the stuff that they love, and we love it too, so you should go and check them out. For example, there's Just Play Games in Liverpool, and then there's also Gav over at GeForce Models. They've always got wonderful deals. I buy a lot of my Warhammer products from Just Play Games, and I buy a lot of my historical stuff from Gav. Go check them out, man. Go check them out. If you want to be a guest on the show, give us a heads up. Come and be a guest on the show. That's absolutely fine. We've had a couple of guests on recently. We had Adrian, quite some time ago now, with Adrian. He was our first ever guest. We just sat there and chatted. That's all it's about. There's no pressure, there's no script or anything. Just go and have a chat with me if you want to, and be on telly. And then, of course, Luke was on just a few weeks back as well. And it's nice occasionally, because at the moment, with Kyle being so busy, it's just me. It's not hard work, but it's just nice to have a conversation going. Leslie says, your stuff looks killer. The time you put into your projects reflects that. Thanks very much, man. That's very kind of you to say. I think it would be cool to see some terrain or the waterholes as suggested by Jeffrey. I actually really like some of the I would really like some spotlight on my Nurgle board just because I'm proud of it. Okay, do you know what I'll do? I'll arrange a time with you. We'll either get some photos from you, or I can come over and take some photos if you like, because I know that quite a few of my viewers are obviously local, not all of yous. I can come around, take some photos, or you can take some photographs of it. We'll have a chat about it, and we'll just see what it is that you want out of it. And I'll load them up, and as soon as they're good to go, as soon as you're happy, we'll put them on for you, and we'll just get some feedback from them. Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do that. Yeah, this track here is a little bit more tense and it's pulling away there. So I'm going to need to get a bit more glue in there. You can see it's actually taking the paint away. I don't know if you can see so well. Taking the paint away from the track and it's deposited it on top of the wheel. It's not a problem. It just means I need to get a bit of glue in there. And just, yeah. Just give it some welly. Just need to really hold it in place. Quite a bit of tension that goes on the end here because of that kind of banana curve that kind of goes up. Banana curve, that's the actual term. Oh no, I've dropped super glue on my blacktop. There we go. Okay, let's see where this goes. A bit of pressure on that axle there. I'm going to push on the opposite side, so I'm going to push from underneath as well, just so the track is being pushed against, not just kind of bending the axles out of place. Leslie says, thanks man, that means a lot. You're very welcome. Thank you for always coming along. This is just a little hobby for me, this little show, but it has become so much more. I put all the time and effort I can into it, and it's fun. It should only ever be fun. It shouldn't. It's not like I'm trying to make a living out of it or anything. If I could, I would. So maybe one day it will. I can't imagine life without the show now. It's just really good fun. It's just really nice. It helps me get through my projects, and my projects are a medicine to me. Hobbies are something that we should put our passion into because we want to. It's the things that we choose to do when we want some time by ourselves or time with our friends. So yeah, coming on and having the show to do it is always nice. So thanks for coming along and be a part of that. So yeah, you're welcome. For everything that you get out of it, you're welcome. My tracks are done, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And the crowd goes wild. Yes. So I will now place my tank down on its tracks that are completed for the first time. Behold. Yes. Simple little things. So yeah, I do need to get on with the camouflage now. What I'm going to do, probably tomorrow now, because I say I want to get away a little bit earlier today. I'm still going to be here for a little bit. If you want to come and join me over in Discord for a little bit, I will be there. But I'm not going to be gluing the side skirts on today. I will probably put those on tomorrow. And then I'm going to just set about masking off the wheels so that I can start doing the camouflage on the actual hull. That means, of course, actually putting my cannon on, because the two edges of plastic don't actually meet. I might have to put like a little shim in here, like a little spacer, and then actually just kind of glue those together so that they hold well and snug in there. I wonder if that was me making a bit of a pig's ear of it, or if that is just the way, I don't know, maybe they're just made a bit dodgy. They're not really fitting very well together. Whatever the case, I will make sure that's glued in place. let me just kind of pop that on here. There it is. I will take a photo once the show is off air, and I will put it on Discord and on Facebook, so that you guys can see what it looks like. Is it a she? Are tanks she's? I think they are. Leslie says, yes, Dan's the man, the audience is my brain for you. Thanks. Chris says, good job. Good job. I think I said that with an accent that I don't know where that belongs to. I told you I have a crisis. It sometimes happens. Jeff says, don't forget your bucket. Yeah, you're right. I did forget about the bucket. I will get that out. I've got to put all the tools and stuff on it once it's all been painted anyway. So that will be a little project at the end, and I will plop my little bucket on there. Yeah, cool. It's looking absolutely tremendous. It's such a beast of a model. I just love everything about it. It's been so fun. Those tracks are in place now. It's really cool. I love it. Yeah, there we go. How have you guys been getting on this evening? Have you had successes? Have you, completed tasks, etc. today? I would absolutely love to know. So do tell me. Adrian says, "Yep, tanks are she." Cool. Yeah, no tanks. I think it should be a she. Why not? I'm going to pop my little tools away here before I start losing everything. And then I'm going to take you away from the Panther. And then I'm going to take you to me. Yeah, we've got a few minutes to go to the end. But like I say, I'm not going to kind of just start making work just to kind of fit into the last few minutes here. Yeah, I had a few technical issues this evening, obviously with distorted music and autofocus going a bit crazy over there. It was just a bit of a rush to get in today. I'm really sorry about that. I normally like to make sure that everything runs really smooth. I did do a quick test, but obviously I didn't put a lot into it, so I apologise for the slight drop in standards this evening. And my camera froze, which was just completely unrelated, but it just happened anyway, so chuck it all in, have the full bag, why not? Apologies for being a slightly more mediocre show this evening, but it's all about the community. So thanks very much for coming along and being a part of it. Do make sure that you get in, that you go over to Facebook and Instagram and drop us a follow or a like on some of the stuff that's over there. We have had some recent followers on Instagram and on Facebook. As you can see, one's just come up here on the screen. This is Dennis O'Brien, who liked our Facebook page, or sorry, followed our Facebook page just before the show went live. Thanks very much, Dennis. I wonder where you are in the world. Do get in contact with us if you don't want to kind of get in contact with us on the show. Drop us a message over at Facebook or on Discord. Catch us on over there. Yeah, it's really nice to know that we're still picking up followers and viewers and things, and we've had a little influx recently. Spread the word. Let them know that people out there. It's not normally just me. It has been for a little while, but there are two of us. The conversation is great. We just kind of talk about all sorts of things as we're painting and making other stuff, and that will resume within the next week or two. Kyle is literally on the edge of his seat waiting to come back, and I can't wait for him to come back because I love Kyle a bit, so it's nice to have him on the show. So yeah, tell your friends, get more people to come along. Leslie says, ruined building thing is made, and I glued in extra styrofoam board to the underside of the Nurgle board. Quite happy with my work today, but as always, tonight's show was awesome. Thanks very much. Don't take the focus away from yourselves. It's all about you guys as well. So well done for finishing off your projects. Really looking forward to seeing it, mate. So yeah, get some photos up, put them on Facebook, put them on Discord, wherever. Chris says, got some more scales done on the dragon. Yeah, of course, because the dragon that you're painting is all scales. And yeah, man, if I thought that my tank tracks and the individual tread plates were going to be a long job, then that's probably going to take forever as well. Yeah, I'd love to see it. Show me a photo. I want to see the dragon. Yeah. If you have found us on Instagram or on Facebook, consider subscribing to the channel. Here, every little bit helps. It would really make my day if you did. So yeah, please consider that one more time because I like the animation. There you go. I did that. I'm well proud of myself. I'm rubbish at all this sort of stuff. Yeah, gonna finish with tea. After the show, I'm going to be on Discord for about 10-15 minutes, I reckon. Just going to clean my airbrush. It needs a bit of a go through. And it's got a little bit of resin varnish sat in there now, which definitely needs to be removed. So yeah, if you fancy coming over to Discord, come and give us a chat. Of course, until then, I will see you next week. Make sure that you guys stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I will see you guys next week. Take care for now. Bye-bye. Really need to go and have a look at that camera.